welcome back to IFA News channel. And today's topic will be focused on Galwan Valley issue and the incident of the scuffle between India and Chinese group. So what is your understanding about this incident, sir? Whole incident. Hope the story has got into the press also. Yeah.
Yeah. See what's available in the public domain. It conveys that this issue was pre-planned. It was not an off-the-cuff event that happened.
Okay.
Because various news agencies, various news reports, including prestigious ones like India Today and all, have given quite a detailed account. If you put all of them together and summarize it, it would appear that for some reason China wanted to be extra aggressive in this area, and they replaced. From what information that we are getting is they replaced the border defense regiment which was
in the Tibet area,
of this part and in Galwan Valley. In Galwan Valley, on the night of in the period between 13th, 14th, and 15th June, the border defense regiment was replaced by some other unit of PLA. There is a lot of speculation that what this unit is, what its composition, and what was its, they say that there were some Mongols in it, they were saying some other ethnic minorities were. So there are a lot of speculation at the composition and the character of the. But the fact remains that from all the narratives that have come out, it seems that PLA on 13th, 14th, and 15th replaced the existing border defense regiment with another unit of PLA, which you see on as per the agreement, the border defense regiment troops had taken down the tent and taken it to their camp. But the next day, when this replacement of troops took place, the tent was set up again.
Okay.
And this was what Colonel Babu and his party had gone to verify and cross-check why this has happened.
That is inside across the LAC, you mean?
Across the LAC, on what is the agreed area that there will be no side will build permanent structures in that zone. Okay. So you see, I'll just digress from this a little bit because there's one point that a lot of people are asking this whole issue about perception of LAC.
Okay.
This clause was put into the agreement in 1993 and 96.
Sir, you were talking about the Galwan Valley. Yeah.
No, I'm just talking about the concept of the perception of LAC, because without that this whole Galwan Valley episode will not be understood. Even Pangong also is related to this.
Okay.
So analogy was introduced into the agreement, which you see normally you define your position as where you're holding, as on ground. Your posts are there, your LAC, your whatever is your line of control is as on ground. Line of control has to be a entity. It cannot be an amorphous and an ambiguous entity. Okay. But for whatever be the reasons, in our agreements with China post 89, 93, 96 and onwards up to 2013, we persisted with this term called perception of LAC.
Okay.
And this clause of perception of LAC is the root cause of the present conflict, because there are different. Our perception is different. Chinese obviously keep changing the perception as per what suits them. So now, with that explanation in place, now we'll come to what has happened here. You see, PP14 was an agreed point that patrols from both sides will come to this PP14 and go back.
That is in Galwan area, yeah. Okay.
That's in Galwan area.
Yeah.
You had PP15, you had PP16. And it was a very regular exercise. This was going on. Now, what has happened is that China has, now this PP14 is quite a bit inside the Galwan Valley. Okay. There is a substantial portion of Galwan Valley which is with India.
Okay.
Now, China has extended its claim to the entire Galwan Valley. Okay.
Okay.
Which means that up to the confluence of Shyok River, where the Galwan Valley meets Shyok River, up to that confluence, they have extended their line of control, LAC.
Essentially, with that, they with by extending that claim line, they seek to dominate the road that we have built from Tangse upwards from Leh to DBO.
Okay.
And so that is the one. So that is the factor to be kept in mind. So I just digressed a bit from what happened in Galwan so that people have an understanding what the Chinese wanted to do.
Okay.
The second thing that I want to emphasize here is that a lot of people are saying that it was a local incident, maybe a local commander, maybe a misunderstanding at local level. I do not agree with that. Two factors. The first factor, that China laid claim to the entire Galwan Valley. That's a change from its earlier stance and earlier established agreement.
Okay.
The second thing, that they replaced the Border Defense Regiment troops with some other regular PLA unit. This is deliberate.
Okay.
And then they re-erected the third thing is that they re-erected the tent that was already taken down.
That is on June 13th, right?
Yeah, on June 13th, on June 14th,
it was taken down, and 14th it was constructed again.
It was erected again.
Yeah. Okay.
So when late Colonel Babu went to get this, find out what has happened, why have they gone back? These people, they were belligerent and aggressive, and thereafter there are multiple narratives, but what common thread one can take out is that the Chinese started jostling with our troops. In that jostling, deteriorated into a fight where the Chinese then took out their bats, and with their bats with the barbed wire and the iron rods with nails welded on them. That shows a degree of preparation. And they started assaulting this first party.
Yeah.
When this happened, the messages were sent back. Now, in any infantry battalion, the CO is like head of the family.
Okay.
And you have to be an infantryman to understand what infantry life is all about. It's about one for all and all for one. And if anybody touches the commanding officer, that man is committing the ultimate sin in this world. So the unit got charged up. They went in. They gave it to the Chinese nice and proper. Then there were other units also. Obviously, they also rushed in. There were 2 or 3 other units whose troops rushed in. And the Chinese, who were in a larger number.
16 Bihar Regiment and Punjab Regiment also.
I will not name any unit because that's not correct. But what the fact is that even the combined strength of the elements from the 16 Bihar and the other 3 units, they were lesser in number than the Chinese troops. And still they chased the Chinese away, and they gave it to them nice and proper. Now, at those altitudes, you have to remember that it was 16,000 feet and it was -6 degrees temperature. In those conditions, even walking fast for a kilometer or 2 is quite tiring. In those conditions, sustaining and fighting for 2 to 3 hours is a superhuman effort that can only be done by motivated troops. The troops were thoroughly motivated because they were defending their motherland. The key thing to remember is that the motivation was high because they were defending their motherland and they believed in the correctness of what they were doing. And at that level, I salute the courage of all the 4 units that were involved there. Tremendous job. They the Chinese must be regretting the day they decided to take this up, and they must be now going back to retrain whatever their training levels are.
Okay.
But they were found wanting. So this happened. Now, casualties, when clashes happen, casualties will happen. That's an occupational hazard.
Mm-hmm.
It is how those casualties happen. And it is with a matter of great pride that every veteran, every soldier today can stand with his head held high. These casualties happened while fighting for the motherland and not in any other manner.
Okay. So we also heard about the news that Indian soldiers have captured some of the Chinese troops and brought them back into our LAC. So what is the real news about this? Real incident on this news? Based on this news.
Look, these are all unverified news which is going around. Officially, nobody has confirmed it.
Okay.
There are for obvious reasons there must have been some understanding. There must have been at higher level, because another important factor that came to light was that on the next day morning, the Chinese initiated a request, and a fervent request for a flag meeting.
Okay.
That means that they wanted to dial down. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, there are you see, China per se is a very opaque society. Their decision making, their method of functioning, their officialdom is all opaque. Yeah. We have no clue of what's happening there. You see, unlike ours here, where things are transparent, you know how things happen. Today, just about half an hour back, I saw a video which is unverified. I do not know how far it is true, but it seems that the Chinese have cremated their soldiers and have sent their urns containing their ashes to their parents. Now, this is how they're doing it. This is as compared to look at what happened in India. The chief minister of Telangana went himself to the house of the departed late Colonel Babu. And there is so much happening. He's announced taking care of the family. Other states are all announcing measures that will take care of the next of kin of the departed souls. But this is, a phenomenal that we have to understand, that China is a very closed society and very opaque. So what we come to know is through leaks and other things that leak out.
Okay. So, sir, actually, this is a time India should stand together. That is for sure. But we can see our Prime Minister being attacked by many sources in medias also, politically also, for his remark during this all-party meeting. So, what is your take on that, sir?
It's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate, nitpicking and making. It conveys a very. Actually, it is not. My view is that the people of the country and the world are very quite wise to what is happening. These silly remarks and these nitpicking and all this is not going to go down well with the people and with the international politics. They know that the type of like that thing that came out of the one person who called him Surinder. Now Surinder is actually the
and we know that person
voice
also.
of Indra Bhagwan. See, the Surinder is the Surinder. If you really look at the meaning of the word Surinder means voice of Bhagwan Vishnu.
Okay.
Sorry, Indra. It's Surinder is the voice of Indra. Okay, na?
Yeah.
Now, what kind of a cheap shot is that? Because they are doing this because they don't have anything substantial. As far as the tribe of various experts roaming around, all I would request them is that you had your chance. Let the people who are now in positions of power and authority do it the way they want to. Yeah, and have people had faith in you. Now have faith in others. That is all that I'm going to say. I'm not going to get into who's right or who's wrong. And we have all seen that in a particular set of similar circumstances, they made one set of statements, and today they are making a different set of statements on a similar type of condition. So it is absolutely, in a way, it's very childish. It's very juvenile. I don't. It's very distressing. I felt very sad when I saw what was happening last 2-3 days. People of the stature of, who've been ministers in the government felt
India actually need a strong opposition party, but not like a party opposition which says we stand against India. That is not right, right?
You see the point that is, I would not put it that way. I would like to put it this way, that in your opposition to the present, your opposition to the present dispensation should not in any way appear to be against national interest.
Yeah.
You see, you can oppose. You see in UK, the Labour and the Conservatives are going at diametrically opposed to each other.
Yeah.
But we have to learn that there are certain issues where they don't cross that line. Unfortunately, in our country, we have not defined that line of self-restraint.
Okay. Okay, sir. So our government has given a free hand for our forces at the LAC, and also given a power to buy any critical equipments at this juncture. So, what is your thoughts on that, sir?
You see, as far as the China border was concerned, we have 5 set of agreements and protocols which laid down the terms and conditions of conduct of border management forces on either within a gap of 2 kilometers, and how disputes will be resolved and everything. The incident at Galwan has resulted in 3 things. First thing is that it has in one act shattered the trust in the ability of China to adhere to any international commitment that it has given.
Okay.
Number 2, it has torn up, and it has, in my view, people are still hopeful that we can go back to negotiating based on those 5 agreements. My view is that those 5 agreements have now been consigned to the dustbin by the Chinese. Okay. And the third thing is, we have to now realize that with China, collaboration and coexistence is a dream. It can never happen. With China, China will always try to confront and coerce us into submission. We have to stand up for what we are. And a line that has been used now increasingly is that we should be resolute on the border, and we should be reasonable on the table.
Okay. Okay, sir.
You have that mouthpiece Global Times editor of China threatening India. Every day he issues one threat, then he deletes that after a while.
So, yes.
So this is a kind of opaqueness that is there. You don't know, and the point that you see happens is that the Xi Jinping is the president of China, the political authority. He is the chairman of the CMC. That means he is head of the military authority also.
Yeah.
When this LAC issue was heating up, he appointed a CMC member to oversee both the commands, the theater commands of China.
Okay.
The Western Theater Command and the Southern Theater Command. Both of them were brought under one CMC member directly to deal with it.
Okay.
So this means that there is some sort of, it's a deliberate thing, whatever is happening.
Is going on,
and, yeah. And you see, it more than anything, as I always say, that we have to look at the event, not at the episode. Galwan and Pangong Tso and the LAC are episodes. The larger event that is happening is, my view is that China is sending a message to the entire world. Okay. That we are not afraid to confront a nuclear neighbor. We're one of the largest countries in the region. And so it is a warning to the smaller states that you better watch out. If we can do this to India, we can sort you out.
Okay.
So we have to, we have to stand firm on the LAC. And today there's a meeting taking place. I think it started at 11:30. Let's
11:30.
see
Yeah.
what flow. But this situation is not going away in a hurry. It is at least going to be there for a few months,
Okay, sir.
if not a year.
After listening to you, one question arises: that is China rattled by Indian defense build-up at the LAC, at the borders with the China?
China is rattled not only China is rattled by many issues concerning India. Uh, the biggest issue that my view that has rattled China is, number one, when India refused to be a part of the Belt and Road Initiative (BRI). The second thing that rattled China was when we refused to be a part of RCEP.
Mm-hmm.
The third thing that obviously now I come to that rattled China is our rapid infrastructure development from Ladakh to Arunachal, all along the border regions. And for this, to a great extent, I would say that the Border Roads Organization of our country, under General Harpal Singh, is doing a magnificent job. They have, they have literally done wonders. Things which were in limbo for 10, 15 years, they're doing it up. They're realigning. They're putting all their skills. They're building airfields. They're building helipads. They're building roads.
Okay.
And they have gone all over.
Okay, sir. So let's talk about this finger area, sir. Does India climb till finger 8?
Again, it's perception. Again, this is that,
because this is the point Congress is telling, like China has come till the finger 5, so it has been conquered. So what is your answer to that question?
You see what happened. You see the point is, I will not get into the politics of it.
Okay.
Even when I was there in 86, 87, they were patrolling. They used to patrol up to finger 4. We used to go up to finger 8. Actually, there's a place
that
beyond
is in
finger
1986. 8. You mean to say, sir?
Yeah, 1986. Okay. And we would carry our cigarette packets, tinned stuff, with labels of made in India. Drop it there, take a photograph, and come back. They would also do the same. Nowadays, I believe that they take the GPS, they take a reading, they record the reading, and then they say, okay, we patrol up to so and so place, and they also come and they also patrol up to so and so place. Okay. That is why I'm saying that this in last 2 years, I believe the aggression has been there from the Chinese side.
Okay.
The aggression from the Chinese side is, it's like they want to tell India that we will keep the temperatures at the LAC at our will. We will heat it up when we want. We will take it down when we want.
Okay.
Now, with that as a background, if you look at what is happening between finger 8 and finger 4, we are face to face. Whatever they have brought, wherever they have brought, and wherever we have taken a position, we are face to face.
Okay.
Today's meeting, we are insisting that the Chinese withdraw beyond finger 8. That is the restoration of status quo ante.
Okay.
So we are insisting on that as a restoration of status quo ante, and let's see how these things play out, because these things are, this is now a subject matter of negotiation. So if we are resolute and, I gave an example in one of my conversations that Chinese are very conscious of losing face.
Okay.
Here, this is the third incidence in recent history with India where China has lost face. The first incident was Doklam. Second incident was Nakula, and this is the third incident.
Yeah.
Now, China, in all probability, is looking for a face-saving way to get out of this.
Okay.
Let's see how it happens and how it unfolds.
So, what is the next course of action, sir? If China is not pulling its troops back to their finger 8 area, so how does it turn out to be for India?
There are a whole range of instruments available, and I'm quite certain that the government's already started applying those instruments. We have cancelled their projects for railways. We have cancelled the projects for BSNL and MTNL. Today, I think they've asked industry for import substitution list. So the only way we can really hurt China. No, you see, you have to understand. For the Communist Party of China, the PLA troops, the Border Defense Regiment, are expendable. They do not value them. They lost 40 odd people. There's not a squeak in the country. We lost 20 boys and there was an uproar in our country. That is how our value systems are different. We value human life, they don't. So where it hurts them is their economic interests. So when we start hurting economically, at China, you have to understand that every leader from grassroots level to upwards has got some business interest or the other. Even a small thing like those flags that we get on 26 January or the statues and the figurines we get on our religious days, those are being manufactured by these lower level,
Chinese.
the district political commissars or the district heads of the political party, or the provincial heads. As you go higher in rank, your industry level gets more sophisticated. So when we start boycotting those items, we are actually hurting the Communist Party of China. We are not hurting the Chinese people. Chinese people will get hurt by default. But we will be hurting the Communist Party of China because their corrupt leaders who've got their fingers into every economic activity of China, their income gets started.
Okay, sir. So before we finish this interaction, why is Galwan Valley so important for India, sir?
You see, there are two aspects to Galwan Valley. Number one, if China comes and sits on the mouth of the Galwan, or where the confluence of Galwan and Shiok, then then it dominates our the road
DBO
DBO. That's the first thing. Second thing is that then it becomes easier for China to, in military terms, what we call roll down. They'll roll down. They can go up to DBO, or they can carry out offensives into Shiok Valley. But that is not that much of a worry factor because the force level that they can bring into that area is very limited. That area does not permit you to deploy a large force. And the way I was seeing those air photos, and I saw some of our TV anchors going ballistic over it. I would love Chinese to collect all their forces there. It would enable me with a very limited artillery resources to take them out. They bunched up against all military.
They just cramped up in the small location.
Yeah, they all cramped up, and that too in a valley. See, they're cramped up into a valley. You just have to. That's what happened in 1967 in Chumbi Valley. The Chinese regiment was cramped into the valley, and our artillery had a field day, knocking them out. So that is what. So that's the first thing. But more importantly, you see, if you read about this area, there are two things that have happened in recent history. Number one, that after 2018, when USA put a ban on sale of high performance chips to China, China set up a major polysilicon plant in Kashgar area of Xinjiang province.
Xinjiang province,
For this, Xinjiang province here, that is the western part of, this is at the base of the Tibetan plateau. Kashgar is the place, near Kashgar. Now, the polysilicon plant requires a lot of water. And I'm just putting two and two together. It requires a lot of water. Now, what China has done on the eastern side and on the central region, they have dammed Mekong River and they have dammed Brahmaputra River to divert water to mainland China. Similar thing they have done in Pak-occupied Kashmir. They built 5 dams. Now, where the water from those 5 dams is going, we don't know. I am guessing, and I'm again saying, I'm guessing that this water will be utilized to provide water to the western parts of China. They may pump it, they will pipe it down. The Chinese are, if they are capable of creating islands in the sea in 18 months,
it's possible.
I think this is not beyond them. That's the first thing. Second thing you have to understand is the importance of the Karakoram Highway and the CPAC in Pakistan. A CPAC in Pakistan is not for benefit of Pakistan. It is for the benefit of Western China.
Yeah.
You see, Eastern China, by virtue of its proximity to sea, that's Pacific Ocean, South China Sea and all, became industrially developed hinterland. Tremendous amount of industrial development took place there on the eastern seaboard.
Yeah.
Now, anything required on the western part of China had to be either brought by sea to eastern China and then shipped by road and rail to western China.
Okay.
If this comes through, the Karakoram Highway and other thing link starts functioning on a regular basis, and they are able to bring the rail line right into Pak-occupied Jammu and Kashmir.
Yeah.
Then this reduces the logistics of maintaining Western China. Sorry.
Okay.
So.
Okay, sir. Yeah.
So you will find that Western China may turn out to be the next industrial hub, sending things via train, because there is already a rail line existing from Western China to Europe. It takes about 12 to 14 days, but there are container trains that are now flying on that route. And if CPAC route opens up, then the Western, then the you see the Western China's connectivity to the world improves, and the threat of choking of the straits of Southeast Asia then goes away, and the South China Sea also loses its importance. Then it becomes only important to supply the across Pacific, the countries who need to be supplied via in Indian Ocean and Arabian Sea and this side will be then via CPEC, via Gwadar, and Europe, of course, is now connected by the rail link.
Okay.
So this is the importance of this area. Now, if we manage to create an infrastructure that allows us to concentrate larger forces at DBO or Depsang Plain, this can, this then unnerves China for obvious reasons. I will not go into the
security aspect of it. Yeah.
The terrain and other, but this is what it is.
Okay, sir. Thanks a lot, sir. Once again, very clear details about Galwan issue. Thanks a lot, sir. We will see you back again.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Good day. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you.